What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Roxette, and I beg your pardon. This deep dive was supposed to come back several days before now, but ultimately, for a number of complicated reasons, ended up getting pushed back a couple times, so apologies to all the Roxers out there, and I will try to do another Roxette reaction the next time I come around to another Marie solo reaction, so that should be in the next few days, meaning I'll sort of make up for the one that was supposed to happen earlier. In any case, we are back to Crash Boom Bang, 1994, and the next tune is Vulnerable, which, given what the last song was, which is funny because I was thinking about the vulnerability of what I saw in the title, and it turned out to be something very different. I know a couple of people commented they were amused as they were listening to the intro, knowing that it was heading in a very different direction. But vulnerable, I mean, in a general sense, to be alive is to be vulnerable because you can be harmed and eventually, or more suddenly, you could die. But obviously, particular circumstances in the human world will lead to greater vulnerability, either physical or psycho-emotional. I feel like the latter is more likely to be the location of this particular vulnerability. But I wonder if it's the narrator who's vulnerable. I wonder if it's another person in their life. Maybe it's the both of them, or indeed the connection between each other that is now bearing stresses because of maybe the appearance of someone else, or maybe a long distance dynamic that makes the emotions of the relationship more difficult. Either way, to be vulnerable is to be in the line of danger, so let's find out what it's all about. This is Roxette, the tune is Vulnerable, and it's from the 1994 album Crash Boom Bang.
Everywhere I look, I see her smile, her absent-minded eyes, and she has kept me wondering for so long how this thing could go wrong. It seems to me that we are both the same, playing the same game. But as darkness falls, this true love falls apart into a riddle of her heart. She's so vulnerable, like china in my hands. She's so vulnerable, and I don't understand. I could never hurt the one I love. She's all I got, but she's so vulnerable, oh so vulnerable. Days like these, no one should be alone, no heart should hide away. Her touch is gently conquering my mind, there's nothing words can say. She's colored all the secrets of my soul, I've whispered all my dreams. But just as nighttime falls, this vision falls apart into a riddle of the heart. Yeah, she's so vulnerable, like china in my hands. She's so vulnerable, and I don't understand. I could never hurt someone I love. She's all I got, but she's so vulnerable, oh so vulnerable. Yeah, don't hide your eyes. She's so vulnerable, like china hands. She's so vulnerable, so vulnerable. And I don't understand. I could never hurt the one I love. She's all I got, but she's so vulnerable. She's so vulnerable. Like China in my hands. She's so vulnerable, so vulnerable. And I don't understand. I could never hurt someone I love. She's all I got, but she's so vulnerable. Oh, so vulnerable. She's so vulnerable. My baby, she's vulnerable.
I didn't see that coming. I like that. I should have though. Marie does that a lot.
I'm so vulnerable. She's all I got. She's so vulnerable. She's so vulnerable.
Now, where did I see the whistle coming? So is that Marie on the whistle? I can whistle a bit, but not like crazy melodically. Ah. Bravo, maestro. Yeah, a really sweet, beautiful tune, and it's interesting. Number one, I think Pear sounded good, and I enjoyed that we did eventually hear Marie as well. But yeah, like it felt. It's I was gonna make the joke. I riff things, and when I do watch-alongs these days, I am often cracking jokes, even if I'm also trying to be analytical. But I wanted to make the joke that, like, what has Pear, a reputation for being, butterfingers and dropping things, but I get the idea that, like, something like a piece of china, it's fragile, and you can make a simple mistake or just a slight moment where you're not fully paying attention, and it could slip, it could fall, it could break, and if it hits something, it's not durable, it's very fragile, it's very vulnerable. And so the idea that you can end up hurting someone that you don't want to, it's like, I feel bad making a joke now, because that's sort of the essence of it, the idea that, he'd never hurt anyone he loves, but again, like relationships, people, their emotions, their feelings, they can be very fragile, and you can do something or say something that, maybe you don't give a whole lot of thought to it, maybe you think it's, playful, you're just teasing, or maybe, you weren't thinking, sympathetically, you for a moment you were feeling like you wanted to be a bit harsh or something, but ultimately that could lead to someone feeling very, very hurt. And so it felt like a very powerful thing, the idea of sometimes there's a delicacy that's required when there are things that are vulnerable. And again, we all humans who are alive, we are vulnerable, and not just physically, but like emotionally and psychologically as well. So I thought it was a really sweet tune, and a very interesting one on the heels of a tune that had a more immediate, visceral sort of feeling to it. So again, shout out to Pear. Like I said, his singing may not be the you can't believe what you're hearing Marie singing, but I do think he hits his moments really well. So a cool tune. Looking forward to the next one in the playlist. We will check what that is so we can see. As I said, I will try to come back very soon in the next 4 or 5 days, something like that, with another Roxette with a Marie solo. And the Roxette tune will be The First Girl on the Moon. I like that. We'll see what that's all about. Once again, shout out to all the folks who've been part of both of those journeys, both Roxette and Marie, and eventually more as well. Let me know what you think of this tune. I will see you next time. Peace.